we planned to be seated, but they made their presentation so perfectly that we will be actually in a very, I would say, concrete way, because I will ask more or less Slovenian audience, because you know Klemen very well. Slovenian tourism audience. Have you seen any similarities between both? No? No? I think very, very strong ones. So they have met for the first time yesterday on video call, but Klemen had no chance of speaking because of his microphone on the train. So actually today what we have heard also from all other presentations today, it was really, I would say, very synchronized, but we really never had a meeting before about the content. So actually the vision, the purpose of today, I guess it was reached because all the messages of all the lectures, they speak about the same thing. It is, I would ask Violeta to help me, relation, attitude, community, responsibility, and taking care of each other. And in this sense, I think that both of them, they have similar stories. Working for tourism, working with national park, working for national park, not exactly arguing, but discussing a lot with national park, trying to be, I love that sentence. It's not necessary, it's not even important that you actually make other people think like you do, but actually you have to do your own work. So this is something what we can connect also with Violeta, and finally starting with Aleš from the beginning. And then also Arnulf, he made a nice, I would say, health approach to nature. But I would really like to ask both of you for your opinion. In which stage would you say we are right now in the sense of tourism? Let's speak about maybe Julian Alps and about Gesäuse, because also we work with Gesäuse. We know the area of Gesäuse, how well we are doing. So that would be, so where are we? How well we are, in your opinion, nothing compared to the others. And what would you think is maybe important to do in the future from all stakeholders, and where would you like to be in 2040 or maybe 50?
No, jaz mislim, da smo v območju Narodnega parka oziroma biosfernega območja Julijske Alpe dosegli zavidljivo raven sodelovanja v zadnjih letih. Od razvojnega načrta, ki je dejansko tlakoval to smer, do razvoja produktov, in da smo na področju Slovenije razumeli pravzaprav ta princip, ki ga je danes David razložil zelo lepo. Jaz si to srčno želim in ves čas opozarjam, to bojo kolegi vedeli, da je medsektorskega sodelovanja v Sloveniji premalo. Jaz sem si vedno predstavljal Julijske Alpe kot eno veliko nivo. Če se dogovorimo, kaj bomo na tej nivi varovali, kaj bomo razvijali in kaj bomo gojili, potem bomo dosegli zavedljiv cilj oziroma bomo dosegli svoj cilj. Če pa se mi kregamo in dopoldne posadimo pšenico naravovarstveniki in popoldne pridemo turistični delavci in bomo posadili krompir, češ kaj bomo pšenico delali, potem dejansko samo ponavljamo ene stare vzorce in se ne premaknemo z mesta. Tako da v odnosu razumevanja, kako pomembno je varovanje okolja, kako pomembno je tudi razvoj posebej za lokalno skupnost, kako pomembno je upravljanje turističnih tokov. Nenazadnje smo regija s tretjino slovenskega turizma, ki se zgodi v edinem narodnem parku v Sloveniji, in kako presneto potrebno je, da to vsakodnevno upravljamo v razvoju produktov. Danes je, lepo je David povedal, klical ga je direktor Narodnega parka in rekel, dajte ga nehati srati z videoposnetki za turno smučanje. Mi smo pripravili turno smučarski produkt v Julijskih Alpah, ki sem ga danes pokazal, se imenuje Julijana Ski Tour. Ne zgolj zaradi tega, da bi dejansko turistični delavci hitro nekaj skupaj zmašili in produkt dali na trg, ampak zato, da smo začeli usklajevati ta pomemben vidik enega vstopa v to našo delovno sobo v zimskem času, ki bo zamenjalo smučanje in bo pritisk tako in tako vsako leto najbrž še večji. Skupaj sedaj imamo produkt, ki ga nadzorujemo in katerega bomo mirno rekli, da bo direktor Narodnega parka poklical poklical direktorja turizma in rekel, dovolj je tega, ne, ostavite to promocijo, zamenjajmo smeri, usmerjajmo obisk na drugačen način. In na ta način bomo potem resnično lahko pred mestom in svetu, ne, urbi et orbi, tista trajnostna ali pa, če želite, torej razvijali regenerativni turizem v tem območju. Zadnjič sem v Londonu videl nekaj, pa je nekdo pokazal slajd, pa je rekel, leta 2000, ne vem, kdaj se je razvil ta web, smo rekli, zdaj, ko se je razvil internet, bo konec sejemskih aktivnosti po svetu, no, pa so se sejemske aktivnosti še okrepile, tako da ne bi hotel napovedovati. Jaz mislim, da smo na dobri poti, zato ker se mi zdi, da je potrebno, da organsko vsakodnevno en z drugim rastemo.
Thank you. To your question, I think the situation can't be better. I'm telling you why. We're working as an agency for big Tyrolean tourism destinations, and they have a problem. This is infrastructure-driven tourism, which is making the big money, but by making the big money, they have to invest big money. And in most of these big tourism destinations, all over the Western Alps or Tyrol or Salzburg, for example, there is there's public money in it, because you cannot build up cable cars in that dimension. You have it in Tyrol without public money. So, especially in looking into the future with our industrial crisis we have in Europe and so on, I think this infrastructure-driven tourism has no future. Even before the aspect of climate change, because all of the glaciers in the Eastern Alps will vanish in the next 30 years, maybe, or 40 years, but you cannot ski on them anymore. But getting back to Gesäuse and Triglav National Park, in leaving out the chances of building up infrastructure-driven tourism, there is great potential, because we have the target groups who want to have a healthy experience in Triglav, in Gesäuse Valley. And the predicate of a national park is golden, because when you're going to the US and want to see nature, where do you go? To national parks. So this predicate is perfect. But we saw it in your lecture, you have to invest in authentic local experience with very high quality. And on the other hand, you need a visitor management, not visitor guidance and visitor management, to prevent people coming here who should not be here. That's the main challenge we have to face in order to keep the ambience that high that we are making money out of people who stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 4 weeks. Then tourism is really sustainable.
Thank you very much. Maybe any question from audience, please?
I was just wondering, what are the models to ensure that this tourism stays inclusive, that it doesn't become just tourism for the rich and prestigious? So I know that it's not, at least in Slovenia, not at this point, but how are we going to make sure that it stays inclusive for people who just love nature, not just for those that have money?
V našem primeru je, po mojem mnenju, to, pa se bom ponavljal brez zamere, ampak mi se v Sloveniji ne ukvarjamo z upravljanjem turizma, mi se ukvarjamo s promocijo turizma. Ne? In Slovenska turistična organizacija je naredila izjemno dobro delo, najbrž, če jo vzamemo kot agencijo, ne? V zadnjih letih, ker je Slovenijo pripeljalo tudi v svoji zelenosti pač na trg. Ne? Vprašanje pa je, ali je temu tako na terenu. Ne? In zato je ta sodelovanje nujno potrebno okrepiti. Ne? Ko sem pred 10 leti, če se ne motim, sem bil v Berchtesgadenu, v naši partnerski občini Ramsau v Berchtesgadenu, ki je postala prva nemška gorniška vas. Na ta dogodek sta prišle obe ministrici bavarske deželne vlade, ena za turizem, gospodarstvo in druga za naravovarstvo. Obe dve sta govorili popolnoma identični jezik, vsaka svojega zornega kota. Se pravi, čutilo se je to usklajenost, ne, med temi pomembnimi sektorji. In tukaj se mi zdi, da tega v slovenskem turizmu manjka. Tukaj smo, lahko rečem mirno, v Julijskem Alpskem narodnem parku, torej delamo konkretne in dobre korake, predvsem za voljo tega izjemnega dnevnega sodelovanja z jasno opredeljenimi cilji, ki niso popolnoma nič drugačni, kot jih je danes recimo v tej svojem managementu pokazal tudi David.
Lahko govorite, kako ste naredili, da bo turizem ostal inkluziven, to pomeni na voljo ne samo prestižnim, bogatim turistom, ampak ljudem, ki imajo radi naravo.
Yeah, inclusiveness is a big question, of course. Regarding money, nature tourism is inclusive because it's not the most expensive form of tourism. That's the first thing. Because here in Europe, we don't have fences or something like that to go into nature or that you pay a fee. Inclusiveness in nature tourism has one limit, it's education. Because when you're not well educated, you're not interested in nature tourism. That's a problem. And you have to get to it. But education, without any education or educational push in direction of nature, you won't experience nature.
There are people without education who love nature.
Of course. And other forms of inclusiveness, that's a too big discussion. Of course, it's a challenge because in infrastructure-less regions, you cannot make totally inclusive tourism regarding barrier-free offers or something like that.
Jaz mislim, da tukaj sem na koncu rekel spremembo navad, to je pa dejansko ena organska rast. Kako ste prej samo omenili, danes je stvar tudi turizma, se pravi borba za še več, še boljše in tako naprej. Še več denarja ustvarjamo, pejmo se ne vem kakšen visoko leteči butični turizem v tem okolju samo za high-end goste, ki nam bodo prinašali veliko denarja. To ne bo šli cilj, ampak o tem se moramo na glas pogovarjati in pač tudi spremeniti te naše lastne navade oziroma navade v tem primeru tudi enega razvoja ene destinacije turistične, kot je recimo Julijski Alpe pa slovenski turizem na splošno. Zamenjati tudi wording, po domače povedano.
A comment on Violetta and on the inclusiveness of nature-based tourism. We have just two populations that are growing in Europe. The one are the elderly, and the other one is the migrant population. And we have still today no tourism formats for migrant children, for migrant people. They are all in condensed urban agglomerations that they cannot develop a sense of place, and they cannot develop the connectedness to this cultural and natural ground because we have no inclusive tourism formats for migrants all over Europe. This is a common problem, and this is the only chance to save the social peace in the next decades, to bring out formats for people from Muslim countries to come here, to get in touch with those immense nature as part of a social intervention. And this is there is no funding for those ideas. All invest into the cities, but nature-based tourism for migrant populations is one, in my opinion, most important things in the future.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
Maybe as just a thought about, because national parks, they are made to conserve nature for future generations, for people to visit, to enjoy and to experience. So yes, and also from the field of national park, our aim is that people experience nature in its pristine form, not with I would say, added value, okay, but like Clemens said, on a daily basis, there is discussion, what is this added value, but actually it is the pristine nature, what the nature offers to people. So maybe any other question? Eva, yes, please.
In jaz sem že pred njenim predavanjem res napisala, ja, kaj je added value v turizmu. In v bistvu, mi ga razumemo vsi kot več vseeno sredstev, več plačati za storitev. Ampak je v bistvu added value za nas imeti gosta, ki zna ceniti to, kam je prišel. Sigurno tudi, ampak bi morali o tem več govoriti. Koliko je res te dodane vrednosti, ki si jo želimo in da definitivno niso denar.
Ja, to smo rekli, sprememba navad oziroma sprememba tega wordinga, ker sem pač vas slovenski turizem vrti okrog še več goste z visoko dodano vrednostjo, ampak v tem gostu govorimo samo ko pridemo do visoke dodane vrednosti, razmišljamo samo to, da bo plačal več za hotel, več za vsako drugo storitev. Skratka, popolnoma drugačna najbrž percepcija na razumevanje, kaj je added value, to, kar si sama rekla zdaj.
Če lahko samo še stavka, da sem bila tudi na ekonomski fakulteti, kaj študentom mednarodnim občasno, kaj tudi povem o turizmu, so pa ravno to študenti rekli, Slovenija je še vedno prijazna država, zato ker ima tudi za tiste z nižjimi cenovnimi zmožnostmi. So raven počutijo dobrodošli, ker določene države počutijo.
David, technical issues. David, maybe comment on added value in tourism. What exactly is added value? From one hand.
And the next big question. When we did our big project in Nepal, we talked about transformative tourism. And the first added value is, of course, the economic value. Because when you're thinking about Tyrol, 200 years ago, they sent their children to Germany to work. And they were treated like slaves in Germany. And with tourism, the children could stay in the village. That's the first thing. The other thing of transformational tourism would be the exchange, the resonance between guest and local inhabitant, which is also something valuable, I think. Because the people from, for example, the Austrian tourism, the people from Vienna brought another thoughts to the villages in the Alps than they would have without them. So this exchange between local inhabitant and tourist should be on both sides that way, that both are left better behind than they were before. That's for me the added value of traveling in the whole. And this should be something like that.
Daniel, I'm completely in line, and added value are hybrid valorization of tourism products for the local inhabitants and for the tourists in terms of health, for example. So you have something that fosters your health, a tourism product that is hybrid for the locals and for the tourists. And this is another possible added value of, for example, health tourism. Yeah.
Ja, jaz sem bil pred leti na eni konferenci, ki se ukvarja z usmerjenim obiskovanjem zavarovanih območij, in me je res presenetilo, kako ima, mislim, da je bila predstavnica Irske, in predstavnica se pravi neke vladne agencije Irske, ki se ukvarja s turizmom. In je na enem slajdu predstavila, kakšne kazalnike ima njihov turizem. In ni bilo kazalniki povečanje števila ležišč ali pa ekonomska vrednost, pač koliko prinesejo turisti v tisti prostor. Ampak koliko mladih ljudi je zaradi turizma ostalo v kraju. Koliko mladih ljudi ima dostop do zazidljivih parcel. Koliko domačinov ostajajo v okolju zaradi turizma in razvijajo kmetijstvo še v tem področju. Koliko šol je ostalo v naseljih, ki so v zavarovanem območju. In tako naprej. Jaz, ko sem ti zgledal, sem rekel, Marija, kje smo mi v Sloveniji. Ne? Skratka, mogoče se motim, da je že kakšen napredek, jaz ga pač osebno še ne vidim.
Če lahko samo dopolnim, ko smo odpirali to Julijano trail, ker smo danes govorili o tem, da bi bila 8. etapa za glavobol, Prva predstavitev, ki sem jo imel v Posočju in potem kasneje tudi na enem velikem sejmu, je bila, da to ne bomo merili v številkah klasičnega turizma, ampak koliko več vlakov bo vozilo po bohinjski progi, kako se bo naš odnos do biodiverzitete spremenil, kako se bodo mladi ljudje odločili, da bodo ostali v Baški grapi, koliko se bo zaradi tega tam, kje bodo videli to ekonomsko priložnost, ki jo lahko turizem prenese, da se bodo odločili, da bodo tam ostali, da se bodo odločili, da bodo tam ostali, imeli majhne kmetije in v današnjem modernem svetu delali tudi v Münchnu ali pa na Dunaju, ker je dejansko, ali je to internet ali so povezave lažje. O tem smo spregovorili in to je sigurno v našem okolju eden izmed glavnih ciljev.
I think the point for alpine tourism and another added value is to keep the cultural landscape. Because watch Italy, the alpine zone in Italy where devastated areas are, where lost villages are. And this problem Austria doesn't Slovenia have in this sense. So with some balance of tourism, you can keep a village. Without it, it will die because, it's not possible to keep it up with infrastructure, modern infrastructure and so on.
Hvala lepa. Hvala lepa vsem. Zdaj, kar smo v bistvu zdaj ugotovili na koncu, je to, da bi mogla biti tale turizem sekcija popoldanska delavnica. Ali? Tako da del 2 sledi. So the part number 2, we will have one day in the afternoon. Za ta del, seveda tudi še zdaj pri kosilu bo čas za debato, zagotovo. Za ta del se lepo zahvaljujem obema sogovornikoma. Nas veseli, da smo se našli tukaj na Bledu. Seveda gledano v luči celega dneva pa zahvala vsem udeležencem. Zahvala še posebno predavateljem, hvala, da ste se odzvali, da ste prišli, tako res smo usklajevali nekaj časa datum, ampak je bilo uredno. Hvala tudi podporni ekipi Alenki za moderacijo in ekipi Triglavskega narodnega parka za izvedbo, prevajalkam, snemalki Ani. Zdaj dogodek smo organizirali skupaj s Turizmom Bohinj in 3 sodelavke na projektu, Irma, Alenka, Elis, z obeh inštitucij v bistvu to zadevo živijo. Ena dobesedno živi v Narodnem parku, eni so Julijske Alpe tako všeč, da je prišla sem živeti iz Francije, mene pa po srcu biologinja Enita, ki je to passion tlele biti, tako da so vse srčne v zadevi. Posnetek današnjega dogajanja bo objavljen tudi na spletu, vas bomo obvestili, tako da ga lahko tudi razdelite med vašimi sodelavci, prijatelji, kolegi. Seveda ob letu Osoraj oziroma kakorkoli že pa ponovno nasvidenje na podobnih, recimo temu medresorskih srečanjih. Hvala lepa in dober tek vsem.